Baratunde Thurston returns for season 2 of America Outdoors. New season begins September 6th on PBS. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, and hello, Chi-Town area.
Exactly. So the series premieres right after Labor Day, where a lot of people may have kind of dipped their toes into nature and maybe gotten a little factory reset mode on their lives. But talk a little bit about why this might be the perfect time for the show to have people maybe reflect and watch it.
I think we're in a moment where we're looking for positive stories, not just dystopic future sort of deathscape versions of ourselves. I think we're entering into a really potentially divisive political season, and there can be some helpful reminders of what we share and what we have in common. And I think coming out of the summer, where we've been through tornadoes and heat waves and floods and so many other climate disasters, we have a lot of stories in this series about kind of climate recovery, of people who are deeply connecting with nature and restoring the natural environment as they themselves are restored, from a mental health perspective, from a physical perspective, from a food perspective, and from a sustainability and survival perspective. So if any of that sounds good to you, you need to be tuning into America Outdoors. It'll make you feel good.
It'll make you feel good, because that's what I love. It's not just going to the different locations, but meeting the people who have stories to share. It's their livelihood. It's a place that they come to connect with others. And that's just one of the interesting things, especially seeing these locations in maybe the West Coast and the Southern East Coast. But I do want to talk about Maine, because we're going through all these warm climates, but we talk a little bit about the cold. We have a love-hate relationship in Chicago with the cold. Tell us a little bit about that episode.
Yo, I mean, I Chicago, y'all don't play around there. I mean, I have been to Chicago in the cold. This massive blizzard many years ago, and I was a part of that blizzard. It shut down Lakeshore Drive. I was out there with a shovel trying to help dig people outside. Deep respect and sympathy for you, and because winter is always coming in the Chicago area. Maine has a similar trajectory with cold. We did some ice harvesting, which is this ancient industry. Ice didn't always come from the freezer when we didn't have freezers. And so people had to get it from frozen ponds and lakes. I'm out there on fishing boats, oyster boats, with oyster farmers who are having to farm oysters because the lobsters have moved due to climate, but also the oysters do a good job of purifying the water and softening the ocean swells. I was out hiking and snowshoeing with people who are recovering from substance abuse disorder and feeling their sense of pain and also redemption and possibility and promise through slowing down, breathing deeply, connecting with each other, and connecting with the land around them. And then, most cold of all, your boy just jumped in the Atlantic Ocean in February with these women who they call themselves the ice mermaids, and they do these cold plunges. And I'm sure there was people who jump in the Chicago River every year as kind of a dare. This is a bit of a spiritual experience. It's very physical and it's communal. And what I learned about cold is, as the title of the episode says, you can embrace it. And if you do, if you just, no pun intended, chill out, then there are ways to actually enjoy that experience and not just feel it as a shock.
Many of us here, especially in the city, maybe can't make it out to these locations, or, whether it might be, time or money wise. But what's something that you've taken away from these filming the series for season 1 and for season 2, as far as little things we can do every day to help us connect back with nature?
There's always something. I mean, we did a whole segment about gardening, urban gardening, and the access that we have there. For our digital series, we focused on people who just love plants, like they're plant parents, and folks who just fill their apartments and their homes with plants, putting compost on your balcony, and being a part of the food life cycle in a different way. That waste is actually fuel, and you can use it to grow new things, which is a literal thing, but it's also a metaphor for the people that we can often discard. So if you're, don't have a lot of money, don't have the quote unquote right gear, that should be no impediment to connecting with the natural world. There is some city park, there is a river walk, there's a nearby preserve that you should be able to access. And hopefully watching me out there do some of these things can inspire you to experiment a bit more yourself. So yeah, thank you so much for asking. I'm actually going to be in the area at the Brushwood Center doing this 40th annual Smith Nature Symposium Award I'm receiving September 29th in Chicago. So if you don't know how to hang out outdoors, come hang out with me. I'll be in the area soon.
You'll be in the area soon. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We cannot wait to see the series, and of course, can't wait for you to come to the Chicagoland area. Of course, season 2 of America Outdoors premieres September 6th on PBS.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.